Hello, one, hello, all. I would say the most anticipated episode of show business, I would say, since we started doing this.
Yep.
I can't speak for you, Peter, but I know I was pointing to this weekend. Actually, not this weekend, this right here, this talking
Yeah.
about the weekend that was. Everything after this is really just second rate. Might as well just get right into it. So technically, see, we said only Ghostbusters, but we were technically wrong because the Infiltrator actually opened up on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So even they weren't technically competing, but they weren't, they didn't have a chance anyway.
They didn't have a chance.
Ghostbusters, 46 million, not good enough for first. Kind of impressive. Like I don't know.
I kind of like I called like a month ago. I said I thought it would make 40, and like so 46, pretty close to that. Didn't make 50. It's not like when you consider what the original made and stuff. It's not really all that impressive, especially how much the movie cost to make.
Well, yeah, there's that. I mean, like you look at, all the money was in Pets and Ghostbusters because there's such a drop off after the Ghostbusters. What kind of, I don't know. I'm not going to say that it bothers me. I talked about this quite a bit. The bet between me, Stoudman, and Skinslip, where Skinslip said it would go 100, and me and Stoudman were like, "That's nuts." And then Stoudman picked next, and he picked 40, and I opted to go below him. This was back before the big marketing push, and then there is this little social justice movement where people. I got wind of there was this group in New York City where they bought out a showing. They bought out an empty theater. They bought every last ticket in the theater just to support the movie. Nobody attended the movie. It was an empty room with the film screening on it, and they just wanted to make a point. Like they were just, giving money to the film to prove a point, and like there's just
it's still only made 46 million.
Yeah, like that's what makes it worse. It's just like, A, how strong was the cause? B, like how many of you like there's just so many different aspects where it's just like the number is just so clouded.
Yeah.
I guess the really big number is next weekend, because if it has a steady fall, then it's a little bit easier to say, okay, that was more of a realistic number. But if the number drops to like 8 million, it's like, all right, so that was super inflated by people.
Because no one's buying out an empty theater on the second weekend.
Right.
That's a stunt you try in the first weekend to try and get it's like you're trying to get publicity. That's what that is.
Yeah, and another thing that bothers me is, all right, so none of you bought out a theater. None of you like you had the photo op of an empty movie theater screening the movie with nobody in it. Like, why not donate the tickets that you already paid for? To kids, to poor people, you could have really hammered home the message. You could have supported the movie. Shit, you had a couple of hundred seats anyway, a couple hundred tickets. Like, just give them out, man.
Give them out. I understand not giving them out at the theater, because then someone. If you're like
somebody who wanted to buy the ticket was like,
we'll take a free one, of course, if I would have walked in and they went, hey, do you want a free ticket to Ghostbusters? I would have been like, yeah, sure, thanks. I was going anyways. But so I understand that. But if you're going to if you're organized enough to plan this and get publicity for it, you're organized enough to give the tickets to somebody who wouldn't have been there. But again, they wanted the empty theater on purpose, right? Because buying out the theater and then giving the tickets to even like a children's hospital It's like it's good press, but it's a different. We don't talk about it right now if it's not an empty theater. Me and you aren't talking about this right now. So they got what they wanted, but at the same time, they threw they threw a little pebble into a hurricane and thought it was going to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make any difference. It's like you buying at one theater didn't prop up the box office so that it made $100 million.
And then there's the other thing where, like, what do you think? You buying out a movie theater, what do you think that's going to do for women's rights in Hollywood? Like,
yeah,
Sony is making money off of your little stunt, not Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, female actresses. Like, that stunt was only that. It was a stunt that I don't know. There's just so like
like they can say, "Oh, we drew attention to women's issues and stuff," but really, what you're drawing attention to is whoever did that in particular. They're drawing attention to themselves, and they're using Ghostbusters as the platform to do that. But you're not helping women like by doing that. You want to help women. Give women some really good movies to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Give women decent freaking good scripts instead of Ghostbusters. Because I'm sorry, the weakest part of Ghostbusters was the freaking script. Like, it wasn't, the acting wasn't terrible. The effects, as much as I didn't like them, weren't awful. It was purely the script that sucked. And spend some money to hire someone who's more than 12 to write the script, and maybe it'll be better. I don't know.
Dylan's got an interesting question. Dylan says, what percentage will Ghostbusters fall this coming weekend? He says, does 60 to 65% sound right?
It depends. If it was pushed up, like, I don't know how much it was pushed up by the whole women's issue thing. I honestly don't, because the general public didn't care. Like, the general public didn't honestly care. It was a lot of trolls and a lot of internet people and stuff, but the average person that goes to a movie didn't care that you're supporting women by going to see this movie. It's like, no, you're not. It's like it didn't even cross their mind. They went to saw the movie because they wanted to see the movie. So if all that pushed it up, then it'll be a 60 to 65% drop off. But traditionally, lately, it's been about 50%.
Well, you think about it. Secret Life of Pets, which came in first last weekend, it made 103 2 weeks ago, and it made 51 this last weekend. It had a 51% drop, and that's coming in first place. Star Trek is going to do some business this weekend.
Yes, Star Trek. Ice Age is going to do some business this weekend.
Right. If you're a family, you're going to be doing a lot of other things in Ghostbusters this weekend. You got Ice Age, you got remnants of pets and shit, the random Dory people that still haven't gone around. There's a lot of family options this weekend. And then, by the way, this gigantic Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
I would say 60 might even be generous. So I'm trying to figure out if it falls to 15 million, what is that percentage? That's almost 70, isn't it?
I think. But
how do I get the math?
I have no clue.
I think it's 51 times 0.0, right?
You're asking the wrong person. I couldn't do math to save my life.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. No, if I double it, 46. Talk about something.
Well, I'll basically say that it's if it goes that low, it won't be that shocking because of two movies that are very big going to be coming out. Like, I'm thinking Ice Age may take number one.
What?
I don't know. Look how much it made last time. Look how much the last one made.
Dude.
I don't know. I'm thinking. I'm not saying I'm guessing that, but
yeah, we're gonna have to pick at the end of the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Star Trek should get number one, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna just check here what the last box office was.
Okay, so if Ghostbusters drops to 15 million, it would be about a 70% drop. So I could very much see that happening. From
Yeah,
46 to 15, that's a
yeah,
70% drop.
that's
And it's gonna be very crowded this weekend. I'm not, it's not me saying that Star Trek's going to do 150 million and Ice Age is going to do 90. I'm just saying, you know what? Even
yeah.
if number one comes in at 60 million, that's kind of big. Ghostbusters. Like I said, it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see what the number is, because if it kind of steadies out and say they only drop to like 32. All right, then people really are interested, and it's I don't know. But what I find surprising is, for as much as some people are touting it, you look at the other opening weekends, and Ghostbusters just doesn't really stick out, man. Like, X-Men Apocalypse was a bit of a disappointment, and it did way better than Ghostbusters. The
Yeah,
Conjuring, for Pete's sake, that's 5 million less, and it's a horror movie. It's like, I don't know. You look at that list, and Ghostbusters is like edging out some movies that. And first of all, it didn't even win the weekend. There's that. And second, like look at these other, like, Jungle Book in April
yeah.
had more than 2 times the gross that Ghostbusters did in July, like right in the middle of.
Enjoy. Yeah,
Like, Ghostbusters is dead in the middle of the summer season. Like, right, wrong, or indifferent, it didn't do impressively well.
yeah. It didn't. It really didn't. Like when you think, especially like when you put The Conjuring right there, The Conjuring 2, and how much that made compared to the budget it had
Yeah,
and the amount of advertising they would have spent on it comparatively, it has to have made back way more money per dollar spent than Ghostbusters will make.
yeah, man. And the
Um,
Angry Birds is only 7 million below it. Like,
yeah,
ugh,
yeah,
I don't.
it, yeah.
You,
That's
you
it's
just
crazy.
can't. You just can't claim it's a success. And
No,
don't even get me started on the lack of China, because
yeah, yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, China's not taking it, but China's not taking it not because it has anything to do with the quality of the movie or the fact that they don't like the remakes. They don't like ghosts in China.
well, it's not that I don't
Plain and
like it. They
simple.
they they
Well,
don't they don't
they
believe
won't
it.
they won't allow anything to be shown that has anything paranormal in it.
Right, right.
So any like and you can say, oh yeah, but it's like Ghostbusters. The film is called Ghostbusters. Like I don't think anyone who was in charge of film in China was like, we have women's issues. Maybe we should let this one slide. No, the second it said ghost in the title and was about like, oh, what's it about? It's about four women that bust ghost. There's no agenda there about slamming anyone. It's literally they don't show paranormal movies. Ghostbusters qualifies. So it's just it loses that. But like again, it would have made a heck of a lot of money in China. Like way more than it would have made here. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, granted, I don't like, if they have something that big to make a stipulation like that. I mean, then I don't know what their views are, but I would assume that they could account for a lot of money over there. Uh,
it's it's an interesting thing because I wonder how it applies to certain movies for China. Um, would China allow Star Wars to be shown because they have Force ghosts?
well, they did. The funny thing about Star Wars was, I think it won its opening weekend, but it got knocked off the second week by Ip Man 3, and that was like
Yeah.
that caused a stir, and people like, whoa.
Yeah, but like Force Awakens has no Force ghosts, right?
Oh, good point. Good
You don't
point.
see, like, you don't see any. But would they let the original Star Wars trilogy, where you
Yeah.
see Ben Kenobi walking around glowing, would they let that be seen? Would they even think about it when they're like, I'm assuming someone in China has to watch the movie first. Like
Right.
Ghostbusters is kind of a no-brainer. The Conjuring, no-brainer. But like, I'm sure someone in the China government looks at these movies and has to sit there and watch them as their job and be like, is there paranormal stuff in them? Yes. Is there not? Well, it's like a dead character walking around and talking to people. Would they allow Star Wars to be shown? It's an interesting rule. Or would they just be like, well, it's Star Wars. It's not about ghosts. It's just there happens to be one character that's kind of talking from the grave. I don't know. I'd love to know.
Well,
So.
Peter, all right, let's be generous and say that the advertising was enough to make it. The budget was 144.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say and be generous, because I'm pretty sure it's way more. Let's say that including advertising and everything, the budget was 175. Does Ghostbusters make its money back?
With advertising in theaters?
Well, all right.
No.
So does Ghostbusters make 175? I guess
in North America is what you're saying.
Nope.
Like, are we talking world here or North America?
Give me two answers, because it may be different, I guess.
In the world, it does. Like, it'll open across Europe and stuff. It'll make its money back in the world. But North America, no. When it's like when you throw in Blu-ray sales and all that kind of crap, yes.
Right.
But we're talking theatrically run for North America, no. It's not going to make 170 million. Not if it's making 46 its first weekend. It's going to have to be. It's like if it goes, even if it goes by half, even if it goes by half, that's okay. So that's 23, 23 next weekend, and then half of that we got what? It's like 12. It's just you won't. It's like, will it break 100? Is the question for Consent Theaters.
Wow.
Like if you look at it, if it does half every week. So, I think, will it make 170? I don't think so. Not again. I think it'll make it back in the world, but not North America. And North America was its prime market because, again, it can't have China. So it's like, and I would be interested also to know if they knew that going in, because I'm thinking for some reason they probably didn't. That they weren't going to be able to show the movie in China. Like, did they? Because remember, this is a new market with China. Like, it's only opened up in the last couple of years, so maybe this wasn't a thing they even thought about. And it's like, as we've been pointing out, every big tentpole movie, it's like, screw it, don't worry, it's going to do fine because of China. And it's like, if that was their thought, they might not even. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, that's not opening in China because they don't do ghosts. Well, now you're screwed because
really wonder what could, because we'll get to it in a second and actually talk about the film, but it's quite clear that they cut stuff, and it makes you wonder. Like, there's what appears to be remnants of a dance number that just isn't there.
Yeah,
and I'm curious if they thought it was going to go to China. Did they maybe make that cheesy stuff for stuff like China, stuff for international? And I think, yes, when it comes to something like that, I think it would.
Yeah. Having a whole bunch of soldiers dance in the middle of Ghostbusters, I think probably would have angered North American audiences, but it wouldn't have been blinked at in the rest of the world.
Right.
Especially in places where dancing in movies is heavy, like India and China and stuff like that, like where it's commonplace. it would have just been like, yeah, oh, they're dancing now. But here it would have been like, why the freak are they all like, this is stupid. He's making everyone dance. So, because he does, there's a thing, and if you haven't seen Ghostbusters yet, it's not spoiling anything. The villain controls a bunch of people and makes them do like a pose. But you see it in the end of the movie that there was some dancing going on there.
Yeah, in the credits.
Yeah, in the credits they showed it. So it's clearly there was some kind of dance number that they've cut out of, like, you know, of the film, and like I don't know, there was a few things, especially with the editing, that I think were probably cut out. That it felt disjointed. A lot of the film felt disjointed.
I don't think a dance number has much to do with that, but
no.
Dude, it's all right. Worldwide,
What did it do?
only got 75 million.
Wow! So it didn't even make 100 million worldwide.
Worldwide's including domestic. It made
Get out.
It's been out internationally a week longer than it has in North America, and it's only made 18 million. Dude, it's not making its money back.
And it's not making its money back. It's
not making its money back, man.
If it's in its first week of release internationally, it made less than it made domestically, then it's not making its money back. It's definitely not making its money back. It'll make its money back once it hits DVD and Blu-ray. It will, because that's where they make most movie companies make most of their money nowadays, is in the home sales, not in the actual theaters. But still, you don't want your film. You'd like to make back your budget from the theatrical release. Like, that's the general thought. It's like, and then everything else is kind of gravy when you're doing the Blu-rays. So it's like, you don't want to be like, okay, now we got it. Like, we've done it theatrically. It made 100,000 worldwide, and now we have to concentrate on bringing, because they also have to advertise. They'll spend a fair bit of advertising on the Blu-ray release too. There'll be lots of commercials on TV and crap, like,
sure,
you know. I'm sure they'll say, "Get the film that stormed the world." You know, it's like the biggest comedy / hit for, you know, crap.
Plus a special extended cut, and get the
where you get the dance scene.
Get the 2 hours that we cut out of the theatrical version that you couldn't see.
Yeah.
I don't, granted, there are probably some places where it hasn't been released yet that, like, I'm looking here. There's no Russia date. So Russia's usually kind of a big one too.
Yeah, Russia's the second biggest market after China.
Right. The UK is on there. UK, they don't appear to be very...
They don't seem to be taking it.
They don't care. 3.5 million opening weekend.
Wow.
I know.
That's not impressive.
I don't know. No good.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me go to the chat here, and then we're going to talk about the film, because both of us have seen it, and we can finally talk about it. Dylan makes a prediction for this weekend. Number 1, Star Trek. Number 2, Pets. Number 3, Ice Age. Number 4, Lights Out. Number 5, Dory. I think Majin 86. I think they released an original campaign before The Force Awakens in China. Okay.
So then if that's the case, then they did show movies with ghosts in China, technically. But maybe they're just like, oh, they're not actual ghosts; they're forced representations of what is it? They're totally ghosts. It's like, you can call it what you want, but they're forced ghosts. So.
Yeah. Blu-ray collector says it won't make its money back, not till the Blu-ray release, which is what you said. Dylan agrees with him. And maybe not even see a lot of collectors waiting until it's cheap. If there's a collector's edition, collectors are going to get it. That's kind of what it comes down to.
There's a steelbook. People will buy it.
Yeah. Still in second, social media reception hit Ghostbusters so hard with Harley Quinn's bat that it will deflate at the box office. Well, Suicide Squad's enough down the road where
Yeah.
Suicide Squad will be busy beating up Star Trek and Bourne. Ghostbusters will be such a distant memory.
Distant memory.
Majin says, I'm surprised Central Intelligence is still in the theater. Feel like it has been out for a long time. Yeah.
It's because they're making money on it, right?
Yeah.
They're still like, what number was it this week? Was it in top 10 still?
It was.
Yeah. Like, I'm assuming like some people will know this in the chat, some people won't. The longer a movie is in
seventh
in a theater, yeah. So wow, it's doing pretty well still. So the longer the movie is in theaters, the more the theater makes off of it. Like what I mean by that is the first weekend generally theaters only make 10%. Is that correct, CP?
Something
10%
like that,
roughly?
around there, yeah.
Off the ticket sales. So if you spent $10 on your ticket, the theater gets $1 out of that. But by the third or fourth week, they're making like 50% of the ticket sales. So Central Intelligence has been out for at least a month?
More than that. I even think that it's at a point where the theater is actually making more money off those ticket sales than the
studio would be. So like the theater might be making 70% off the ticket sales at this point, or 80%, or I don't know how high it goes, but they're making
movies. Yeah.
Yeah, they're as long as people keep on paying to see them, and they're going to make more money off them anyways. They're going to leave them in theaters. My theater in Pickering only has 8 screens, and as far as I know, it's still freaking playing there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it only has 8 screens. It's different when you have 24 to play with, but we only have 8 screens, and yet they're still leaving it there because it's still making money.
7th place.
And so it's like 7th place in a weekend where, again, if even if they only sell 5 million tickets, if it makes 5 million, the theaters get more than half of that, whereas they would get a heck of a lot less if it was opening weekend. So they're going to keep leaving it there until it goes away, until people stop seeing it. That's why they left Captain America in theaters for so freaking long.
Central Intelligence. Oh wow! Opened June 17th, so it's been out just about a month.
Yeah, just a month.
So. 119 million, and it's never been in first place. Second, third, sixth, 7. It's just kind of.
But it's been steady the last 3 weeks at roughly the same things.
What I was just gonna say was the numbers are absolutely what you want to see if you're a studio, or actually for everybody. This is a number that's both studio and theater friendly. The first weekend, 48% drop, but then 31, 15, 35, 33. They have a steady little 1/3 drop every week. So that everybody's in love with that as far as Central Intelligence is concerned.
Yeah.
And again, like as far as comedies are concerned, like what really is out there?
Ghostbusters.
Dylan says the Purge election year surprisingly topped the first 2 domestic box office. Congrats, Frank Grillo. Yeah. I haven't watched those. I watched the first one. I haven't seen the other 2.
He's saying the first one or the second one?
No, the Purge election year. I saw the first one. The Purge election year is part 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's the third one in the
right.
The thing.
And Majin says, I was saying it's been in the theater for so long because Ghostbusters will make its money back if it stays as long as that. Yeah, I don't think it's going to stay in as long as that, though.
Yeah.
Thought it was out. Maybe not. I retract that last comment.
Because there's 2 movies coming out this week.
There's 3.
Born, we know what's the third one coming out this week?
This week it's Lights Out.
Okay, so a horror movie.
Inside Out. Not Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Dumb Cartoon and Star Trek.
Yeah, Ice Age. Right.
Ice
so
Age.
Yeah.
I knew it started with
those three movies, like that's 3 movies that are decent.
Mm-hmm.
That will do okay money. Like Lights Out will make good money for what it's cost to make for sure.
12 million, 13 million, sure.
Yeah, it's gonna make back its budget and stuff. What's it called?
Need a second?
Nah, hold on. Yeah. So with that, 3 movies coming out, and then the week after that, you have Bourne coming out, and there's got to be something else coming out with Bourne. Hold on a second.
I think it's actually Sausage Party comes out that week, I think, too. I'm not sure, but the movie release schedule doesn't seem. Oh, there appears to be at least 2 movies paired up from here out, like up until when the summer season's over.
Yeah. So, like, even if they just stick with new releases, right? There will be theaters, sure, that a month and a half from now that will be having Ghostbusters, but there'll be 24 plexes. Any theater that has like 10 theaters or less, like even if you're trying to show the newest things, because they will make the most money for you, even though you're not going to get as big a cut. So we got 3 this weekend, we got 2 next weekend, we got 2 the weekend after that, we got 2 the weekend after that.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, if you're Ghostbusters, you think you're going to last in a movie theater that only has 12 screens or 10 screens, or well, in my case, 8 screens?
Yeah, Martin's got a point, but I don't think Ghostbusters will hold the way Central Intelligence does, especially if it's going to be competing against Sausage Party so soon. You got Nerve and Bourne coming out the same week, and Bad Moms.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
Bad Moms is another comedy. Like part of the reason that Central Intelligence was doing so well is because there was nothing else to laugh at.
Yeah. And it was funny. It's like, if you haven't seen the movie, it's actually funny.
Sure.
It's not doing anything super original, but it's funny, and that, nothing wrong with that. So there's a reason it's stuck around. It hasn't had that much competition for its direct kind of brand, and it's good for what it is. So Ghostbusters, on the other hand, doesn't have that option.
Right.
It's going to have a heck of a lot of competition in the next 3 weeks, or it still has competition left over from last week. So, like, Secret Life of Pets has still got at least 1 or 2 weeks left in it.
Sure.
Where, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's at least got this week, and it's definitely probably got next week too, I think.
And
where
again,
it's going to be,
Again, if you don't think Ice Age is strong enough, how about Star Trek? And then you combine Star Trek, Ice Age, Secret Life of Pets. Like, the field is just so scattered. Like,
yeah, I changed. By the way, I changed my mind about the whole Ice Age might win this weekend. It's not going to.
All right. You have plenty of time.
No, I looked just a little while ago, and so the first Star Trek made $75 million its first weekend. The second one made 70. So even if it makes
65,
this one will do 65. But the Ice Age 4 made 40 million its first weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not going to beat Star Trek. I didn't really I thought maybe just because it was so big overall worldwide, but a lot of that is worldwide money. It's not North American money.
Right.
So, but yeah, so you got that. So if it makes, you got Star Trek making 60+ million. You got Ice Age making over 30. You got Lights Out getting 10 to 15. And then you got Ghostbusters that only made 46 million. So if it does half of that, even, it's only getting 20.
Right.
And again, we still got Secret Life of Pets. It's just,
Oh, you know what? Majin's got a good point. Anton Yelchin is in Star Trek. That might give it a little bit of a boost too.
That might also give it a boost. And I read today. Oh, go ahead.
What's odd is they're not really playing that up. Like, they're actually doing the exact opposite of something like what Dark Knight was doing. They're like avoiding him at all costs, which is really kind of weird.
Yeah.
At least they're not playing. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I read today that they're retiring the character.
Oh, that's nice.
Because they've already greenlit the next Star Trek movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they've decided they're just going to, that character's gone from the series because they don't want to try and replace Anton Yelchin.
That's nice.
So it is because, although he's not a central character, right? Like there are 3 central characters in Star Trek. There's Spock, there's Kirk, there's Bones. Those are the 3 kind of central, and then you got all the other like next level ones, which would be Ahura and what's his name? Guy from Scotty, and then you got the guy from Harold and Kumar, Sulu, and you got Chekhov, which is Anshan Yelchin's character. So you got like your main 3, and then you got like 4 or 5 under them that are all kind of like the next level characters. And so it's like he's not central, but he's a character that people know by name.
Right.
So it's just like replacing him. Like I think they just kind of said, yeah, replacing him is going to be. It would be kind of touchy, and it'd be more fitting to just kind of let him go from the series at that point. So, and I think that's probably a good idea.
Dylan says the Ice Age series is like the Alvin series. 20th Century Fox just looking to get people in seats. It's a cash. They're both cash grabs. I agree with that.
I agree.
But Ice Age is more about worldwide. They don't really care about America. They make all their money from Russia.
Because like I'll be honest, like some of the Ice Age movies aren't bad. I've seen a few, but the last one I saw number 4, and it was just the story was terrible and it was boring, and it was just like I was just like, okay, good, they're done making these, but nope, it made like I think we said what, like 700 million,
a lot
worldwide, like, a lot. So they're, even if it doesn't make, like, if it only makes 75 million in North America and it costs 90 million to make. If it makes 700 million worldwide, they're going to keep pumping these things out until that stops. So, and Russia, for some reason, freaking loves Ice Age. I don't know. Maybe it's the cold, maybe whatever, but Russia loves it. So they're going to keep making them until Russia stops watching them.
Well, the big bad of the previous week, we led up to it for so long. There was so much controversy, so much everything. We finally saw it. We both have seen it.
Yep.
Peter, what was your take on Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters is a movie that got a ton of attention, positive and negative, that it did not deserve in any real way. I, like, as CP knows, I am a huge fan of the original. I love it. I quote it all the time. Like when we were talking about it, I was like, CP was dying because I kept on quoting different things from it, and it's just I love it, and I was kind of pissed off they were making a sequel or like a reboot. But this literally, it's not bad enough, and it's not really good enough to talk that much about. It got way too much heat, and then Sony decided, like, once it got heat, to throw the whole feminism thing on it, to maybe push that aside. So it's like, stop looking at, it's like they misdirected. Stop looking at our bad movie. Look over here. Oh, we're feminist issues. And like, if you don't like it, you're a misogynist. And so it's not nearly that bad in any way. And it's not nearly good enough to really, like, it's very forgettable, but it didn't hurt my soul in any way. And I've watched stuff that, like, it's just, like, you're like, oh, this really hurts to watch. No, it's, like, I don't think, the only thing that really kind of hurt my soul was there's a Bill Murray cameo that I was just like, Bill, you're better than that. Other than, like, I just was like, Bill, what are you doing? Like, you're better than that cameo. Don't even do, no. But
they kind of let it open interpretation too. That cameo is a little open-ended, if I could say so. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an okay film. If you want a rating, like, I just did a review. I filmed one today, but I haven't edited it and stuff. But I gave it 2.5, like, out of 5. And to me, like, that's not a really good film, but it's not awful. I have no, like,
as a Ghostbusters fan, like, speak only as somebody who, like, it just imagine me talking about some new Friday the 13th property. What does, just the Ghostbusters fan in you think of everything, I guess?
I really disliked the way they portrayed the ghosts. I disliked the way the equipment and stuff worked, and, like, how the rules kept on changing. Like, near the end of the film, they're using their proton packs as like whips and like whipping ghosts around, and they didn't catch one, like at the end of the film, the big finale, they didn't catch one single ghost, yet they seemed to beat a bunch of ghosts into submission. Yeah, and I was just like, this seems very
slap
like,
shot or something like that, and she like knocked a ghost into a bunch of other ghosts. It was like, what?
Yeah, like they're literally like catching them with the proton pack and whipping them and like into other ghosts, and I'm like, I don't think that would work. I don't know. The Ghostbuster fan in me is like, this is not Ghostbusters. This is not my Ghostbusters. But you know what? Again, my 15-year-old nephew saw it, never seen the original, thought it was great. My daughter, who loves the original, saw it. She thought it was like a ton of fun. So the Ghostbuster fan in me is just like, you know what? That's a terrible ripoff. And if they said there's a button and if you push it, it never happened, would you push it? I'd push it in a heartbeat. Because I push it for several reasons. One, to get rid of all this crap with the feminism and all this kind of stuff, and misogyny and all that. But I'd push it just because I'd rather than not make a remake of it. I would have rather if they really needed to continue the franchise, I would have rather the sequel. Even if it was this as a sequel, even if it was these characters working it into the universe, I would have rather that than what they did with the script. But it's just,
so you're basically saying that this new film doesn't really contribute to the brand at all, then?
No, not really. No,
that's kind of unfortunate.
No, it is because again, it's a big brand that you could do a lot with, and again, I have nothing against the fact that it's women. I don't care, and it didn't bother me. It never has. It's purely the story itself. I think they could have done, like, for Ghostbusters. So it's like, if you're going to remake something, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not like, as much as I prefer there not to be remakes. I know Hollywood's going to keep making them, but if you're going to remake something, is your goal, like, do you literally go, okay, we're going to remake Ghostbusters, and what I really want people to come out of the theater and go, it's fine, don't worry, it's fine. Is that what you're going for? Is fine?
It's a hell of a point, man.
If that's what you're going for, then congratulations, you got exactly what you wanted. But like, I'm assuming they want, that was a great film, I want to see 5 more of that. I want to see those people continue their adventures, and I want to see a great film. And it just isn't. It's not even close to being a great film. And I just don't understand, if they're going to remake it, why don't you try your best to make it awesome? Not just for the original fans like me, but just for everyone.
Yeah, there's someone that like, I've actually seen this from a couple of people, that they've compared it to 21 Jump Street and what 21 Jump Street did for, and shit, it's now its own little brand.
Yeah, and it is.
I feel like that's not exactly the same, because 21 Jump Street kind of like put everything in the blender, and they first of all, the script was a hell of a lot smarter than.
Oh, it was way funnier than this.
Yeah, they even took some fun with what was happening. Like, as a whole, they were just making constant references to the fact that it was a remake, and like there was a ton of material that like they were letting you know that they were in on it, and they were just trying to address what they were doing while trying to kind of take you down a different road.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah, no. 21 Jump 20 Jump Street series is something really, really impressive and good, and they're good films. They've taken something that used to be a dramatic television drama thriller and made it into this comedy thing. Ghostbusters, they took something that was, this supernatural, edgy comedy, and made it, like this poppy down the middle comedy.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. It was very Paul Feig. Or is it no? Is that his name? Is that his name? Paul Feig? Paul Feig. I don't know. Paul Feig, I guess. Yeah. It reminded me of a Paul Feig movie, instead of a Ghostbusters movie. So, if that's what they were going for, it's like I guess you got what you wanted again, but like, it's the same. It's the same thing. Complaint I do hear about Batman versus Superman is, oh, it's very much a Zack Snyder film, so it's going to be dark and cinematic and this and that and it's like there are some people who are like, listen, I wish you just would have had that film, but just done by a different director, because then it would have looked different, right? This is a Paul Feig movie. Feig movie. I don't even know how to say that. I'm like Fag movie. And again, I'm not saying that in any bad way. It's his style of movie. It felt like his other movies, and this shouldn't feel like his other movies. This should feel like a Ghostbusters film with some of his touches to it. Whereas it feels like a Paul Feig movie with some Ghostbusters stuff thrown in there.
Exactly, and part of there were some. Listen, there are certainly some Easter eggs there. Like there's one line where she says, flying books and flying babies. There's no such thing as that. And I was like, oh, that's a reference to both 1 and 2, because there's flying books in Ghostbusters. The flying baby in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
But for the most part, another big difference between 21 Jump Street and Ghostbusters 2016. 21 Jump Street, they still kind of traced the source material a bit.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It was guys that looked like they were in high school, going back to high school and college and doing these things. And the way they approached it was they actually made fun of the original 21 Jump Street and said, every time they had a chance, they made jokes about the guys looking too old to be in high school, guys looking too old to be in college. Like that, they were taking something from the original that everybody was saying, but they never touched in the original, and they're doing it in the remake. In Ghostbusters, the jokes have nothing really to do with Ghostbusters. They're just jokes that just so happen to live in this universe that really can be anywhere else. Like I said, other than that Easter egg, there's not much else going on as far as making the movie a Ghostbusters movie, and that's really unfortunate. The 21 Jump Street movies are 21 Jump Street movies. What makes Ghostbusters special is what? Tell me what makes 2016's Ghostbusters special.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like all the humor could have been in any movie. So take a movie about 4 girls there, or 4 women that are like starting a business, an exterminator business for rats, right? There's a rat epidemic or whatever. Or even if it's just nothing to do with that, to do with something else, just where it's those 4 characters that are doing something else together as a unit. 90% of the jokes could have been exactly in the same movie. There was very little Ghostbuster related, like other than slime, it went everywhere. It's like there was very little, like, it's like a lot of the jokes are just jokes. And now some of them are funny, but like very rarely, like you didn't really see that in Ghostbusters, right? Ghostbusters was a situational comedy where it's like the funny stuff happened in the situation. It wasn't like, I'm going to tell you a joke, and I'm going to tell you another joke, and I'm going to tell you another joke. Then this thing's going to happen, and we're going to go do it. But then when we come back, I'm going to tell you some more jokes. And I'm going to, hold up 2 pictures and stuff. It's like, because it's going to be funny. And then I'm going to be like, man, I'm not smart enough to answer the phone. I'm going to do that.
You want to talk about Mary Sue's, too. The original Ghostbusters, they were fucking horrified at what they had to face with whether it be Zool, the Stay Puft Marshmallow. They you were reminded with every new step that they were scared shitless. There's even a line where they say they're too scared. In this female version, I'm sorry to say that, but I'm not singling anything out. It so happens that it's the newer one, all females. They everything's going to shit, and they're ready to go. They're fucking suddenly their aim is perfect. They know what to do. They know how to handle these things they never did before, and they just don't miss. They did more missing practicing in the alleyway than they did at the end when shit was getting real. Like I don't know. They suddenly got perfect when going got tough, and nothing really frightened them. Nothing.
Yeah.
They never, there's not much adversity. They just entered and went.
Yeah. Yeah. There's very little conflict with like the actual like being afraid of what you're coming against. They're all just like, oh, let's go. Yeah. It's like.
Yeah, everything seemed normal to them all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Oh, a giant fucking balloon ghost. That's normal.
And how does a balloon ghost work exactly that you can pop it?
Yeah,
With
the
a
ghost
knife.
go away?
With a
Or
knife.
like fly somewhere else?
How do you pop a balloon of like a paranormal balloon with a knife? I'm just sorry if you haven't seen it. I just ruined the whole thing for you. But
well, how do they kill ghosts? There was ghosts that they just got rid of.
It's like there's a thing where like they have a device that shreds the ghosts. Like it literally sucks them in and puts them through a shredder and spits them out as ectoplasm on the way. I'm like, did that kill it? Because why don't you just do that for all the ghosts? Why don't you make like big ones of those? You don't need to catch nothing. You could just shred everything.
Right.
It's like have 20 of those things and like just shoot them out. And it's like, no, it's like they had one of those things and then got broken real quick. It's just what happens to the ghosts, and that was one of the things that like the original was very much about. These guys were catching ghosts, and like the thing that kind of made me laugh at this one, not in a good way, was like they catch their first ghost and they go, okay, what do we do with it? And it was like they haven't gotten that far in their minds of what to do with in the first movie.
Pants, a lot of seat of their pants type stuff.
Yeah, in the first movie, they're like they meet their first ghost and they're like Ray's like, I think we can catch a ghost and keep it and confine it. And so when they've caught their first ghost, they already have a confinement thing set, waiting for it to put in, so they don't have to worry about it.
Right.
And it's like here, it's like, okay, we got a ghost in the trap. What are we doing with it?
Yeah.
It's like she's kissing it. Like
this movie was all about new weapons, just new weapons. Here's another new weapon. Here's another new weapon.
Yeah. Oh, there's this and there's this. Oh, there's guns that come into my pack, and it's like.
Well, that and like what we talked about from the trailer, it just happened, and they didn't change anything about it. The rock concert, there's this giant dragon ghost thing. Everybody's just like, meh, okay.
Like I understand in the beginning of the concert, people think it's a special effect.
Right.
But the minute like people understand it's not, they take a selfie with it and then they just stand there and watch it. Like, look at that giant dragon up there.
Like just one shot of somebody like, oh.
Freaking out.
Yeah, like what? Oh, we got it. Leroy Green, would you think that Sony would kowtow to Ivan and Dan? Excuse me, to beg them to reboot it again with a sequel / crossover? Maybe have a wormhole, aka Star Trek, and have the original crew help this crew fight Gozer in the sequel. I kind of like that idea. I think maybe if this movie fails to a degree, they might try to approach it, which I feel like that should have been the idea from the start. Have them pass the torch.
Pass the torch. Again, I could have cared less if they passed the torch to all female crew. I'm not okay. If they would have passed the torch, it would have been cool. But they did. Instead, they had Dan Aykroyd as a cab driver.
Yeah, instead of the cameo, have their small bit part be them literally passing the torch, like, oh, we're too old for this stuff, and just retire. Like, I don't understand, why do you have to erase the previous universe? Like, it's so strange.
So now, saying all that again, I didn't hate the movie.
Same here.
I didn't. It's just what's her name? I keep on forgetting her name, but I'm very bad with names, so I apologize to anyone who's like, oh, that guy's I can't remember names. Christine McKenna, is that her name? The blonde lady?
Kate McKinnon?
Kate McKinnon, that's it. Thank you. Freaking, she was great. Like she was again, I didn't laugh a lot. But whenever she was doing stuff on screen, I kind of noticed that I had a smile on my face that I was just like, I like her. She's like, I like her character. She seems fun. She seems like someone who's cool. And, and as I told CP, I took my daughter who's 14 to see this. And 20 minutes in, when she after Kate McKinnon's been on screen for like 20 minutes, she kind of looked at me. She goes, "I like her the best," and I was like, "Yeah, I like her the best too." It's like makes perfect sense. Like some of the like they were good in Leslie Jones was good in it. I was surprised because I was dreading her character of being just a terrible stereotype, but she was good at it. Sad that she got all the Twitter hate that she has in the last couple days.
All right, so help me out. What was that? What happened? And
oh, she just got a lot of racist Twitter stuff in the last 3 days.
It all traces back to Ghostbusters, I'm assuming?
Yeah. All of it's like a bunch of stuff about her, like being a monkey and like they posting pictures of gorillas on her and stuff she never got before. And all of a sudden, after Ghostbusters hit, she got inundated with a bunch of racist stuff.
And the problem is they go ahead and prove everything that people are saying. Like it's the people that are being sexist and racist, things like that, they're a small portion of the group. They happen to be the loudest.
They're the most passionate.
I hate to say this for the fucking assholes, but guess what, guys? If you don't like what's happening, you doing what you're doing is gonna make more of it come out. People are gonna make more shit that you don't like just to piss you off. Like they just don't get it. Like, don't watch it. Don't go to it.
Yeah.
Stay away from it.
Like as much as Al complains about it, he said, like our friend of the show, Al, who was on it, who's a Ghostbusters fanatic, he's like, I don't want it. He goes, I'll see it, but I'm not paying for it. Because he's like, I'm not going to support it. So he's like, if someone else wants to pay, and I'm like, well, that's fair. It's like, he's not, if he's just like, I don't want to give them money. It's not that I won't ever see it. I just don't want to give him money. I can understand that. It's like he doesn't want to support it. But he's not saying, like, it's a terrible movie. Like, that's the thing. Like, it looked to me like me and CP have both were on the trailers going, it looks awful. And it did look awful. And the trailers made it look worse, way worse than the movie actually is. The movie's not that bad. It's the trailers are cut awfully. They're just bad trailers. Whoever cut those 2 trailers should be fired and like find somebody, like go find some good trailers. Find the guy who cut the Suicide Squad trailers and
that appears to be a Paul Feig thing too, because all of Paul Feig's trailers are garbage.
Maybe he cuts them himself. I don't know. Maybe he's just like, I know what, like I show my movie, and it's like, no, it's like the movie was not what I got from the trailers. The vibe was different, and like it's just.
I don't know how you felt, but I felt like the movie just got weaker and weaker and weaker as the movie got on.
Yeah,
like I feel like the first act was the strongest. I feel like the opening scene like really kind of set the tone and it gave it potential that I really didn't think it had. But sure enough, like I felt like the third act, aside from being just all over the place, just really wasn't good.
Yeah, and it as the acts go, I agree. It went like kind of first to second and third and went down and thing.
Yeah.
And Kristen Wiig's character in particular kind of like mirrored that, except in the first, like her character was very hard to kind of get behind at first. And then she seemed like she kind of was getting better, and then she got like went crazy.
Yeah,
the whole scene with the mayor. Yeah, it's like it's like she starts out kind of like I didn't like her character, and then when she kind of accepts that she's going to be a Ghostbuster, she became a bit more likable. Even though out of the 4, she was the least likable. And I'm saying this as someone who has a crush on Kristen Wiig. I like her. I think she's cute. I think she's a pretty lady who can act well.
It's so terrible that you have to say stuff like that, though.
Like, I know. I have to justify it because people are going to be like, he just doesn't like Kristen Wiig. No, I like Kristen Wiig. I actually, like I said, I have a crush on her. But she was the weakest thing in the movie. And again, I don't think it's necessarily her fault. It's what she was given to freaking do. It's all down to the script.
Her character makes no sense.
No sense whatsoever.
Is a giant joke. The amount of I don't even know, like yeah, she's the smartest one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yet she can't contain her feelings for their secretary. and then when things are going bad, she's the one who's a fucking a head case when it comes to like.
Well, she was this close to like in the movie getting tenure as a professor at I can't remember what university it was, but it was like supposed to be a good one, right? And so she's this close to get tenure as a professor. You have to be on your game, and you have to be on your game for a very long time, right? Because once you get tenure, you can't be fired, basically, right? Did you feel that from her character at all?
That was a line in the movie
in the beginning, and then it's like her character just gets crazier and crazier and crazier as it goes on until again the scene with the table where she's like, "Get out of New York." Now, she did have one of the funniest lines in the whole film, as far as I'm concerned, in that scene where she's just like, "Don't be the mayor from Jaws." And the guy who plays the mayor, he's like, "Don't you ever call me the mayor from Jaws." Yeah. It's like, I was like, that's funny. Jaws reference. I get it. Yeah. Yeah. But again, she just went nuttier and nuttier as the film went.
It's like you brought up the fact that she's up for tenure. The reason she meets back up with the Melissa McCarthy's character is because she's so worried about her image that she wants the book taken down. She doesn't want the book around anymore.
Yep.
Like, all right, you set the table. Why aren't you going through with that? You completely flip it, and like she's just out of all of the people, like why not give her the Melissa McCarthy's the grounded one of the group? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Or she's supposed to be, or she is, and it's a little weird considering, like I don't know. It's again, both of us like the movie to a degree, and like I think we're more upset because I think it could have been a better movie than it really was. And I think maybe again
because it's just so painfully bland.
Yeah, like when it could have been pretty good. Like I think it could have. It was never gonna like. Listen, I don't care who you put in the role. I don't care which actors. Like get the best actors you can possibly get, and get Christopher Nolan to direct it if you want. It wasn't gonna be Ghostbusters. It wasn't gonna be Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, like it wasn't going to be that. It wasn't going to be as good as that because that's that, right? That's fine. So I understand, like, it was never going to be that, but it could have been better than it was. It's like I wasn't like you were never going to replicate what happened in '84 because that was '84. So
I don't think that's true. I feel like this new thing with modern filmmaking is it'll never be as good as the original. You can never top the original. That's bullshit. There have been remakes that have been better than the original.
Which ones? There's very few.
Scarface, The Thing.
Okay, but those are most people who quote those ones in particular have never seen Scarface and never seen The Thing, like the originals.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen them?
I haven't seen the original Scarface. I've seen the original Thing. I've seen the original Cape Fear.
Okay, because it's like a lot of people quote those ones, and it's like, I get it, but Carpenter, for The Thing in particular, man, Carpenter poured his heart and soul into that movie, right? Mm. Like that wasn't just a let's make money movie. That was him going, I have an idea that we can remake this movie and we can do it a different way. And we're going to make it really awesome. That was him putting everything into that movie, right? I don't feel that with Paul Feig. Do you think Paul Feig was losing sleep while making this movie because he wanted to be the best movie possible that he could ever make?
But my thing is, why did he want it then? Like, I don't understand.
Because he was probably pitched it. He was probably saying, "Hey, would you like to make a Ghostbusters movie? We can give you some of the people you already work with, and we'll make it with women. It'll be awesome. It'll be fun. Yeah, sure. That sounds like a ton of fun. That sounds easy. That's going to be fun. It's going to be no problem." Again, The Thing, I think, like freaking John Carpenter's talked about how hard that movie was to make. Right? It's like, and again, Scarface was a movie that was remade from a movie from the '30s. I think, like it was. Most people who like don't even know it's a remake.
I guess my thing,
right? So
if there's a property that you think is going to be like a a thing, a universe, its own little thing, then why on earth would you treat it like a normal cash grab? You've got to go in there and you've got to be like, I mean, shit, Star Wars. They babied that so well, and look what happened.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to, shit, you got to Marvel it. If you want multiple movies, you have to, like, you really have to respect the process.
Mm-hmm. And again, the first Ghostbusters movie was never assumed to have any sequels when they made it. It wasn't. They weren't trying to set up a franchise or anything like that. It was literally, it's a movie. It's like, we're doing one movie. This is it. It's done. So, the thing also though, but all the movies you mentioned, right? Like most of those movies were being remade, and they weren't being remade because they figured they'd make tons of money out of them. They were being remade because directors in particular wanted to remake them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So and they wanted to put their own spin on it, and they really wanted to. They thought they could do something special with it, and all of them did. Like all three of those movies worked, but all of them also were from movies that didn't have a big following, that was recent.
Right.
Right. So Ghostbusters. If you would have remade Ghostbusters 40 years from now, right, it would have been, oh, you're remaking that classic film from the 80s. It's now, it's like. But it's it's like take all the Ghostbusters are dead, right? Like so it's like all the main cast is gone. You don't have any of that, like the director's gone, everyone. So you don't have any of that stuff, and you're gonna have people who are older going, oh yeah, Ghostbusters was my childhood, but they're not gonna fight it because it's like whatever. That's when you can remake that safely where no one's gonna complain about it, because no one complained about when they remade Scarface and the thing. No one was like, the original. It's because no one thought about the original. Most of the people didn't even know it was an original, right? Where Ghostbusters is a big is a big thing. It's like forgetting that it's a franchise. Just the movie itself, just the first one, is a beloved classic, whereas in like all the other ones weren't. And it's like you're taking it. Well, the main cast is most of them are still alive, other than Harold Ramis, yeah. So, it's a little bit different. I think you can't to recapture what they did in '84. And again, all those the original thing and all that, as far as I understood them, weren't big hits. The same way.
That's another thing. Like, why do people keep insisting on remaking these giant things? Why don't you remake something that was kind of like, let's say 20 years from now, not even 10 years from now, they remake John Wick. That makes sense because it was something that was somewhat, it was good, and it had minimal, above average popularity. Like remake something that was kind of like one of my favorites, Major League. Not an incredible movie by any stretch. Like not a lot of people remember it. It's it's not this wholly untouchable thing. But you know what? There's enough interest where you could, see a reason to touch it. Pick anything that didn't really make a lot of money, but wasn't a failure. Like that's what they should be remaking. Things that just couldn't get an audience for some strange reason.
But you also don't want to remake them and just go, well, again, we're going for it's fine. It's like
no, yeah, right.
You want to make it to the best freaking ability. You want to make it great. And again, all those three films you mentioned were improved upon by the next films, by either the star or by the cast and the director and they were all made better. Than the original. I've heard very few people out there going, well, you know what? Forget Pacino and Scarface. Watch the original. No, people talk about Pacino.
In film school, they get really angry.
That's film school.
I'm just saying that they'd preach about the original Scarface, and I was just like, yeah. I'm trying to find a movie that I can reference that would fit here. Bad Boys, the Martin Lawrence. That it was good, wasn't ginormous. I mean, maybe it was ginormous for the time. Or The Rock.
It was pretty decent for its time. Yeah.
Yeah, pick any of those decent '90s action movies. They could be remade.
We've talked about remakes, right? What's the best remake that has made money and gone on to have a franchise in the last 20 years?
I don't know.
Fast and the Furious.
Oh, right. Well, it's not technically.
It's a remake. It's a remake of Point Break. It is. You take it. If I give you plot points and say which one am I talking about? Point Break. It's a remake, and it's
by that stretch, then Freaky Friday and they've all had
but
remakes forever and ever.
None of them did it well, and none of them got a franchise out of it, right? So it's like we're talking 8 movies later, or like 7 movies later now. It's like it's a remake that was reimagined so much so again a lot of people didn't understand that they basically were making Point Break.
It wasn't a legit remake, though. It was.
They didn't say we're remaking Point Break and it's called Point Break, but they basically took the story and remade it and put it in a different context. So they put their own spin on it. Okay, they're not extreme athletes; they're car guys. Same premise though. The premise is pretty much freaking identical. It's like, so why not do that with some other movies? And if you're gonna make remake stuff like Bad Boys, that's fine. You do it when you have 2 stars that you think could work that franchise, that could drive that. It's like, just be like, okay, we'll bring 2 people. There's got to be 2 people that could work. No, it's like, no, you wait until you find 2 guys that are like, those 2 guys together, Bad Boys, that would make, like, the chemistry would be great with them. That's when you're like, hey, we're going to pitch Bad Boys for you guys. It's been 20 years. We're going to remake Bad Boys. It's like, but Hollywood just goes, we're going to remake everything we possibly. Ben-Hur, screw it.
Well, yeah, like the problem is worldwide, like they're just, especially China. China's like the get out of jail free card. So they're just printing money in China. So like, there's no such thing as a mistake out there. They're just like they can't miss. So like America, it doesn't matter, but China just keeps bailing them out.
But that won't last. That can't last forever.
I hope not.
Sooner or later, Chinese audiences will get wise and be like, wait a minute, I've seen this movie 6 times already.
Plus, China can only take a certain amount of movies. Like, I don't even think they can take 1 a week. So, like, that's part of the problem, too. Like, how many of your, I don't know, 160 movies that they're pumping out every year? Like, how many are you actually going to get to China? And
that'll probably change, though, right? Like, because 10 years ago, they took 0 movies. Mm-hmm. So give it time. I'm sure there'll be things where it's like, oh, China gets it a week before we do, because they want China's is an emerging market, but even being an emerging market, it's making more money than anywhere else, right? So it's like, just think what they could do when they are allowed to have 3 movies or 2 movies or 5 movies or whatever. Like, they're slowly changing, so they're just starting it. But their audience they'll get wise, but it's going to take them years to do that.
David Gerlach says that Paul Feig made the pitch to the studio. That sounds right. I think I heard that actually. Leroy Green, Sony, like all the studios, wants to make money, product placement, new weapons, new toys. Yeah. Except they have their shit on clearance right away. Sony was and is so desperate for a bankable franchise. This reboot won't be it. The problem with both Sony Sony and Fox, they don't understand. And you're right. Sony is more hard up than Fox. Fox, you'll probably see them calm down now that Deadpool made money, but they just don't understand that. Like, there's a little bit something to it. Like Marvel just, they can't miss, and Disney can't miss with some of their Pixar stuff. But like, there's a formula to it. Like, you don't get it. Like, you've got to put some effort in there. Like, holy shit, it's not about the name. It's about the quality of the thing that made the name. Like, Jesus Christ, man. And David says, never touch Major League. I kind of agree, but I'd like to see it freshened up for modern day.
It would be interesting to see if they freshened up like Major League and like for now.
R-rated. R
Yeah,
rated, not PG.
You'd want it R-rated, but they would probably make it PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would agree it'd be funnier R-rated, but the original was R-rated.
Yeah. Point Break has a shitty remake.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what, because they figured, wow, Point Break's already been remade as Fast and Furious, so we can remake it as Point Break, and it will be great. And it's like, you understand Fast and Furious did something different, and they had people that were really passionate about that movie, even though it seemed like a dumb car movie. Like Vin Diesel and Paul Walker were super passionate about those movies.
Well, that's exactly it. Fast and Furious took the element of Fast and Furious took the element of Point Break and remade that the cheesy bro action thing. They remade that, and that's what Fast and Furious is. These doofy charismatic guys doing doofy action shit, and that's what was appealing about Point Break.
Yeah.
Utah, give me two. Like that's I am an FBI agent. That is what we remember, not the stunts. Yeah, the stunts, they helped. They were cool in the home theater, but like that's not what we remember.
Yeah.
What's up, Patrick? Leroy Green, Sony besides Spider-Man, what else do they have? And they share that with Marvel now. Sony, I mean, if I went through the list of the things that they've tried, Sony is Columbia or TriStar.
Yeah.
They've tried so many, like Stealth was Stony. Was Sony. Just think of any like mid-level shitty action movie that came out in the last 15 years. That Sony, and actually more lately, Fox. They redid their Hitman thing.
Yeah.
Transporter, like there's Sony and Fox, they're so desperate to have something. I'm trying to think who did Terminator. Was that
I don't remember. See, I think what Fox and Sony really need to do is stop worrying about franchises right now and concentrate on making really good single movies.
Right.
And you see, Lethal Weapon got 4 movies. Lethal Weapon got 4 movies because the first one was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it was thinking it was going to get 4 movies. Like when they were filming Lethal Weapon, they were like, "Oh man, we better get 3 more movies out of this." No, they were never thinking that. They were thinking, "Let's make a really good film. We have a good script. We got some star power. We got a good director. Let's make a good movie." They made a good movie. It got a sequel, right? It's like everyone wants to jump to franchise, right? It's like that's where everyone's like, "Oh, we need a franchise. Screw franchise." Because I understand you want a franchise, but to get a franchise that's good, make a really good first. Like, how badly do we both want the Nice Guys franchise, right? It's like that's a franchise I could get behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like they made a really good first film, but unfortunately no one saw it. But they need to concentrate on a first film and making it really good, and then promoting the crap out of it, because again, they didn't do that with Nice Guys, and they didn't put it at the right time of year, and so all that stuff plays into it. But if they would just seriously do that, you would have a Nice Guys franchise. You would have a whatever fill in the blank really solidly made first movie with a good director, good star power, and a good script. And you'll make a sequel because it'll make a bunch of money, and people will be like, "That was a good movie. I'd be interested to see those characters again." That's that's what they need to. They need to stop thinking franchise, because they're so busy thinking franchise. They're skipping. They're jumping past. Like they're like, we have A, we have this thing, and we want to get to Z or Z, depending on where you live in the world. And they're like, we're going to go to G. It's like, problem is you needed all that in between G and A to have a good movie, which will help the franchise. But they're like, no, because we get to G, then we can just get to the franchise. And it's like, screw. Make a good first film. Franchise stuff will come from it. Like sequels will come from it. Die Hard, again, Die Hard was a good film.
Right. Leroy Green's got it. The problem, the business side, films now think franchise instead of making a good film.
Yeah.
They really lose focus of the fact that, yes, unfortunately, it's art first. You're in the business of art, and the art is what makes the money. So you can't. I mean, granted, some people are doing it. So some it actually works, where you just pump out like a factory. You pump out these shit movies, and somehow people are coming to see them. But that wears thin. You can't do that for every category.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that what is in the top 10 right now is horror, family movie, and remakes. There's no like actiony drama. There's no real like comedy style comedy.
By the way, Ghostbusters fit all three of those criteria.
No, well, yeah. I mean, that's on purpose. So, like, I mean,
we're making a family film. We're making a horror movie. We're making a remake. It's like,
did my review
everything?
Did I put my film? Oh, on my personal channel, it's called CP the Idiot, which I haven't made public yet because there's only, I think, one video on there. I actually filmed all the people coming out of Ghostbusters, and it was literally the most mixed crowd you could ever imagine going to a movie. And I kept record of who was coming out. It was like a black couple, a black family of 5, a Hispanic family of 3, a senior citizen white couple, a white family of 3, grandparents with their grandkid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it literally was America, the movie theater. That's what it was. It was the most diverse screening you've ever seen in your life. And I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I mean, I guess, yes, it's nice to have a little bit of everything, but why not have a whole bunch of one thing?
Yeah.
I mean, like him, hate him, whatever. The Medea movies, they're successful to the group that they don't like.
To the people who like those movies
Right.
I've never seen one.
Same thing with those. Same here, and the same thing with those those Kirk Cameron movies.
Yep.
Those are ultra popular. Fireproof, all that weird shit.
Yep. God's
Not Dead. Like there are these groups that
there are people who like them, and there are people who go to them, and
right. If you're gonna try to make a movie to get everybody, those don't come along every couple of months. They come along like once, maybe twice a decade. Like
we call those Star Wars.
Star Wars, Titanic.
Yeah.
What else is big like that? Avatar.
Yeah.
Like the gigantic, huge, everybody loves it movie. Like, that's not a popular thing.
Like, every studio would love that, but it's not easily replicated. It's something that is, and that there's a reason for that, right? It's like trying to appeal to everyone usually doesn't work because it dilutes the story. So it's like we gotta make this PG-13. Well, now we can't, so it's like, oh, we'll make Deadpool for everyone. Yeah, but then we have to dilute the jokes. We can't tell the jokes we want because it's got to be PG-13, and now we're not being true to the character. Meanwhile, you made it rated R and made a ton. Like, sure, that movie would have made more money if you made it PG-13 on some level, but you would have had, any sequel they wanted to make wouldn't have happened the same way because the people would be like, yeah, that's not the Deadpool that I wanted. That's the Deadpool that you wanted to give me. I don't care about your sequel. So it's like, it's better just to give the people what they want, which was an R-rated Deadpool movie. And to honor.
That's what Disney's doing.
Yeah.
What do the fans want? Okay, give it to them.
Yeah.
And look at Disney just making billion-dollar property after billion-dollar property. Like, duh. Ask them what they want. Stop fucking hiring focus groups who basically are there for the fucking, and bring genuine fans in as a focus group.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like in the age of social media, in the age of how easy it is to get in touch with your fans, how the fuck are they still fucking this up? Don't, like I said, don't hire like focus groups. Send out an email. Hey guys, you guys have a really special opportunity here. We're going to give some of the best fans a chance to come watch an early screening. There's going to be an NDA, but we want your genuine opinion.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you'd have a hell of a lot of a better time, or more accurate time.
Yeah, you have a very accurate time.
Would than a fucking focus group.
Yeah.
And you could even do like background checks on these fans. You could go check their Facebook page, see like, what they're tweeting about. Oh wow, this guy really does like Deadpool, so we'll invite him to our screening. Like, it's just an extra step that nobody's like. They just money, we'll just do this.
Yeah, like I said, everyone wants to go from A to G because they think they'll get to Z faster or Z faster, and meanwhile it's
you
like
said Z.
I know. I don't even know why I said Z, because I actually say Z most of the time. A little while ago, I what was I doing? I said something, and it was like, I was giving my daughter's name on her cake, and I said Z to the lady, and she went, "You mean Zed?" And I went, "Yeah." And she's like, "You American?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, I just say Z. It's Zed.
Wait, you Canadians say Z?
Yeah. Yeah. Most Canadians say Z. I say Z. But a lot of Canadians say Z, and most British people say Z. So
yeah, well, that I knew. I didn't know Canadians did too.
Yeah, no, Canadians do too. I don't know. Anyways, we better wrap up soon, dude, because I got to go to sleep because I got to go to work in the morning. So,
all right.
Do we want to talk about next week quickly?
Yep, let me get it.
Because holy crap, is that going to be hard to judge?
All right, so this was last week.
Yeah.
This week is Star Trek.
Yeah.
Lights Out, and Ice Age.
Okay. I'm gonna go. Good if I go first?
Wait. Go ahead.
All right. I'm gonna go Star Trek, Ice Age, Ghostbusters.
My computer's frozen.
Right.
Hold on. My computer's frozen.
Okay.
Okay, Star Trek. Ice Age.
Yeah. Ghostbusters, Secret Life of Pets, and then fuck it, Tarzan.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
I will.
No, wait a minute. No, not Tarzan. Lights Out. Sorry, I forgot Lights Out was coming out.
Okay, I will do Star Trek. Pets.
Pets is your second one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ghostbusters. Actually, no. Ice Age. Ghostbusters. Lights Out.
So you think Secret Life of Pets is going to beat Ice Age?
Yes.
On its third weekend out?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you see Dory?
I saw Dory, but Ice Age, the fourth one, made $40 million its opening weekend.
Okay.
So it's the third weekend for Secret Life of Pets.
I understand, sir.
I'm thinking it's going to drop off, but yeah. We'll see. I haven't been doing all that well, anyways. So.
Well, we're kind of close to being tied, I think.
Yeah,
We're like
yeah,
one. I mean, this last week went a bit interesting, but we're close. It's fine.
yeah,
It's what makes it fun.
yeah. And
All right, guys. Well,
I never claimed to be an expert in this, anyways. I just like talking movies. So, so.
All right. So that's that. We'll get back at you guys sometime soon. What a weird weekend coming up on top of what was a weird weekend.
Yeah.
Peter, you got a couple things coming up, right?
For what?
You just make stuff for me. You have stuff coming on this channel. Never mind.
I have stuff coming on your channel that hold on. This is oh, transfer complete. Look at that.
Okay.
So yeah, you should be getting any time now.
Yeah, so you'll get a show business special. The top 5 movies to never finish #1 will now be a top 10.
Yeah.
And Peter will have his in there. If you didn't watch mine, that's good. This way you can watch a whole complete set. Peter's also going to be making a cameo on my 24-hour film marathon, which should be up. I might even pump it out early. It'll definitely be up by the 23rd, but I think you might see it tomorrow.
Okay. Awesome. Don't tell anyone because we don't want publicity.
Right. And
I was thinking about people knowing about it.
What else you got?
I'm going on vacation next week, so but I should have my Ghostbusters review out by Friday. If it's not out by Friday, it's not getting out because I'm going on Saturday morning. So yeah, I did Ghostbusters review today. I filmed it, but I need to edit it. Other than that, yeah, I'm going away, so you won't see me for a week or two. Next week, CP will do this show business with somebody to fill in, I'm sure.
We'll find somebody.
Yeah, somebody will fill in for me.
Worst case, I'll talk in an empty screen. It'll be a nice passport.
You'll do solo and be like, man, I'm really thirsty. I need a drink. So, but yeah, yeah, if you're still watching, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys when I get back from vacation.
All right, guys, have a day. We'll see you soon. Oh no, I hit the wrong one.